Okay, so this is review video number 2. In this video, I'm going to go over the income statement, and then we're going to put the income statement together and in the next sheet over. So we're going to do it both in the worksheet and then on the actual, getting our actual income statement together in its proper format. Okay, so let's do this. So whenever we say income statement, you just have to memorize that's revenue minus expense. We're trying to find our net income here. So revenue minus expense. So the good news is that all of our accounts that are revenues and expenses have the word revenue and expense in them. So it makes it quite easy to do this part. I don't say that about much about accounting, but this statement is actually pretty easy for us, right? So I start with my revenue. It's 14,150. I think a key thing that people mess up is they use cash here instead of revenue, right? So cash is an asset. It's going to go in our balance sheet. It's not going to go in our income statement, right? So I need to make this a different color real quick. Ooh, make this whole income statement blue. How about that? Okay, so 14,150. And then we jump over here and we record all of our expenses in this portion of our chart. So we've got all of our expenses are debit, so we're going to put them on the debit side. So we got 2,200, got 1,300 for our travel expense. We got a rent expense of 1,200. We got a miscellaneous expense of 200. Those are probably donuts. Got my supplies expense of 670. Accumulated depreciation is not an expense here, right? That's a contra asset, so it's actually going to show up on my balance sheet. The depreciation expense is, so I put my $1,000 there. And then interest payable is actually a liability. That's going to show up on my balance sheet, but it's not going to show up here. And then 300 for my interest expense and 600 for my insurance expense. Now, I simply take my revenue, in this case service revenue because I'm providing services, but really any revenue, could be sales revenue, minus my expenses, and that will kick out my net income. All right, so I jump over here. I got my calculator. I've got 14,150. And then I subtract my 2,200, subtract my 1,300. I subtract my 1,200. I subtract my 200. I subtract my 670. I subtract my 1,000. I subtract my 300. And I subtract my 600. Again, that basic mechanism to find net income, which is revenue minus expense, is going to be my net income. So I got $6,680. Mrs. Fishel was kind enough to give us the actual net income on here to make sure that we have another checkpoint. And the net income was $6,680. It is correct. Perfect. So I jumped down here to my net income and I put it in 6,680, $6,680, right? Let me go ahead and bold that and underline it. That is my net income. I put it in the wrong column, so I used my eraser. I erased it and I popped it into the right column because I want it to be my net income column right here. And I've done it. That's my income statement on the worksheet. Okay, not so bad. Now I jump over here to my actual income statement. I have to put this information in. So I always start with the name of the account. So this is Thomas Magnum Private Investigator, right? And this is going to be my income statement. And the date is 3/31/16. All right, so far so good. Now I simply take the numbers I just did and I plug them in. Sorry that that's a little hard to read. I don't know why that column's not working for us. All right, so I plug them in. So my first thing is going to be my service revenue. Come over here, I find my service revenue. My service revenue is 14,150. And then I come down here and I pop in, come over here, income statement, and I pop in my 14,150. It's going to be my credit side. And then I pop in all of my expenses. I've got a lot of them, so it's going to take a little bit. So I've got my, first my salaries expense, which is 2,200. So I come over here, go to salaries expense. You can indent this if you like, just to help you out, but you don't have to. Salaries expense, and then my salaries expense was what again? 2,200. So I pop in my debit area, 2,200. Next up, I'm going to have, oh, sorry. Let me back up a second. You're supposed to end it with total. I'm going to do total revenue here, even though I already know my total revenue is the same. So it's going to be 14,150. Right, I'm going to bold that and underline it. And that's my total revenue. And then after I enter all my expenses, that's going to be my total. I'm going to have my total expenses. I take total revenue minus total expenses, get that in. All right, so let's go back to our expenses here, shall we? Our first one was our salaries expense at 2,100. Salaries, indent this a little bit. Salaries expense, 2,200. I keep on going, one at a time. Travel expense, 1,300. Travel expense, 1,300. Keep on going. Next up was my rent expense, 1,200. Rent expense, 1,200. Next up was my miscellaneous expense for 200. So I go misc expense, 200. Next up is my supplies expense of 670. So I go supplies expense, 670. Next up is my, all the way down here, my depreciation expense of 1,000. So I go here and then a little bit, depreciation expense of 1,000. Back over here, not an expense, but this one is. Interest expense is 300. Come back here, interest expense, 300. And then I have one more to do, which is my insurance expense at 600. So I go insurance expense, 600. And then I get my total expenses. The total expenses is going to be the combination of all of these. So I jump over here. Got 2,200 plus 1,300 plus 1,200 plus 200 plus 670 plus 1,000 plus 300 plus 600. The total expenses are going to be 7,470. 7,470. Bold that, underline it. There we go. Okay, so what is my net income going to be? My net income is going to be my service revenue, my total revenue minus my total expenses. So I go here for my net income at 14,150 minus my 7,470, and my total is going to be 6,680. Good news is I got the same number as I had before. I increase the size of that a little bit so you can see it and underline it. And there I have it, my net income, and that is my full income statement. Right now up here, these two could be interchanged. You can have income statement first and then Thomas Magnum PI. Either way works, and check that with Mrs. Fischel, so you should be good to go on that one. Okay, so that's it. You've got your income statement. You've got your worksheet filled out to that column. You've got your net income there. Our next video is going to be our statement of retained earnings, and then our final video is going to be our balance sheet. Okay, I hope that was helpful.